It's 2003. You're 15 years old. You live in Belleville, Ontario, a small, boring Canadian town where nothing happens. Your classmates are playing video games and worrying about prom. You're on a forum called Talk Gold, learning how to run Ponzi schemes. Your username is Scepter. You don't use your real name. Nobody does on these forums. The people here trade tips on something called high-yield investment programs. That's a fancy way of saying scams that promise people 13% returns per month. You're 15, and you're already fluent in the language of fraud. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is that you're good at it. On these forums, you meet a guy named Michael Patrin. Except that's not his real name either. His real name is Omar Danani, and he's already been convicted of identity fraud in the United States and spent time in federal prison. He's older, more experienced, and he sees something in you. Not talent, potential. The potential to be useful. Together, you start moving money through a digital currency called e-gold. It's a gold-backed digital token that existed before Bitcoin was even a concept. You help people in these Ponzi scheme forums move their money around. You're basically a 15-year-old money launderer. And nobody knows. Your parents think you're doing homework. But here's the thing about being a teenage scammer. Eventually, the small cons stop being exciting. You need something bigger, something real, something that could make you actually rich. And in 2009, something appears that will change everything. Not just for you, for the entire world. It's called Bitcoin, and the moment you read about it, your $ eyes light up. Because you don't see a revolutionary technology, you see a bigger, better version of e-gold. One that's impossible to trace, impossible to freeze, and impossible to take back. You see the perfect tool for the perfect crime. But you're patient. You don't rush. You spend the next 4 years learning everything about cryptocurrency. You go to York University in Toronto. You get a business degree. You look completely normal. Clean record. Nice kid from Ontario. Nobody connects the respectable business student to Scepter from the Ponzi forums. And that's your real superpower. Not coding, not finance, invisibility. You can stand in front of someone, shake their hand, look them in the eye, and they will never suspect that behind that baby face is a mind that's been running scams since before it could drive a car. You're about to use that superpower to build the biggest cryptocurrency exchange in Canada. And then you're going to rob it blind. It's 2013. You're 25 years old. You move to Vancouver, British Columbia, and you do something that looks completely legitimate. You found a cryptocurrency exchange called QuadrigaCX. Your partner? Michael Patrin, the convicted felon, the guy you met on a scam forum when you were 15. But here's the genius move. Patrin's name stays in the background. Your face is the company, because you have something he doesn't. A clean record, a business degree from York University, and a face that looks like it belongs on a college brochure, not a wanted poster. QuadrigaCX starts small. You install the second Bitcoin ATM in Vancouver. You do local trades. You build a website. And slowly, people start trusting you with their money. Not because your exchange is the best, not because your technology is the safest, but because you seem like a nice, harmless nerd who loves crypto. And this is where things get interesting. The exchange grows fast. By 2017, Bitcoin is exploding. Everyone wants in. Your exchange processes over $1 billion in transactions. You become Canada's largest cryptocurrency exchange. Tens of thousands of people are depositing their savings, their retirement funds, their children's education money into your platform. You tell everyone the money is safe. You tell them it's stored in cold wallets, offline storage that hackers can't touch. You explain in interviews that customer funds are kept on paper wallets in safe deposit boxes. It sounds professional. It sounds secure. It sounds like exactly what a responsible exchange should do. But none of it is true. Not a single word. Because you're not storing their money safely. You're spending it. You open fake accounts on your own exchange under aliases. You credit yourself with money that doesn't exist. Then you use that fake money to trade against your own customers. Real people. With real money. Trading against imaginary money that you invented. When you win a trade, you take real money from a real person. When you lose a trade, you just create more fake money and try again. The house always wins because the house is playing with infinite imaginary chips. But even imaginary chips have a limit. Because the prices of crypto don't care about your fake accounts. And in 2018, something happens that your imaginary money can't fix. Ethereum crashes. Not a little dip, a 90% collapse. And you? You've been gambling with your customers' Ethereum. Massively. The Ontario Securities Commission will later calculate that you lost approximately $115 million of customer money through your fraudulent trading alone. That's more money than Quadriga made in its entire existence. 115 million. Gone. Not stolen and hidden on a beach somewhere. Actually lost. Through bad trades. With other people's money. You are, quite literally, the world's worst gambler playing with the world's most stolen chips. But wait, it gets worse. On top of the 115 million you lost trading, you lose another 28 million trading customer assets on external platforms. Without telling anyone. Without permission. You just take their crypto and gamble it on other exchanges. And lose. And then, on top of all that, you take millions more to fund your personal lifestyle. You buy an airplane. A sailboat. A 2017 Lexus. Real estate in Nova Scotia and British Columbia. You're living like a crypto king, while your exchange is bleeding to death internally. By late 2018, Quadriga has almost no real assets left. New customer deposits are immediately rerouted to fund other customers' withdrawals. It's a revolving door. A Ponzi scheme in the purest sense of the word. Money comes in the front, goes out the back, and nothing stays. The Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce notices something is wrong. They freeze $26 million of Quadriga's funds because of suspicious activity. Another $10 million gets locked by a software bug. The walls are closing in. Customers are waiting weeks, then months, for withdrawals that never come. And here's where a normal person would panic. A normal person would lawyer up, cut their losses, maybe even confess. But you're not a normal person. You've been running scams since you were 15. You don't panic. You plan. On November 27, 2018, you sign a will. It leaves everything to your wife, Jennifer Robertson. The airplane, the sailboat, the Lexus, the real estate, all of it. $9.6 million in total. You even include a $100,000 trust fund to take care of your 2 chihuahuas. Your 2 chihuahuas have a $100,000 trust fund. Your 76,000 customers are about to have nothing. 12 days later, you fly to India for your honeymoon and to open an orphanage apparently. Because nothing says, I definitely didn't steal $215 million like volunteering at an orphanage. December 9th, 2018. Jaipur, India. You are 30 years old. And according to official records, you die. Complications from Crohn's disease. Cardiac arrest. In a hospital in one of the most chaotic cities in the world. Your wife Jennifer is there. She files the paperwork. A funeral home in Halifax, Nova Scotia, thousands of miles from where you allegedly died, issues a statement of death. Your body is handled by hotel staff after an embalmer reportedly refused to receive it. That detail alone is strange enough to fuel 1,000 conspiracy theories. But here's the thing that makes everyone lose their minds. Nobody announces your death for over a month. You supposedly die on December 9th. The world doesn't find out until January 14th, 2019. 5 weeks of silence. 5 weeks where your exchange continues to accept deposits from customers. Real money. Going into an exchange whose CEO is allegedly already dead. And then comes the bomb. QuadrigaCX announces that you were the only person with the passwords to the cold wallets. The cold wallets that supposedly hold $180 million in customer cryptocurrency. Your laptop is encrypted. Nobody else has the keys. The money is locked in a digital vault, and the only person who knew the combination is in a coffin. But here's the detail that turns the conspiracy machine up to 11. Investigators from Ernst & Young get access to the cold wallets. They crack them open, and they're empty. Not locked, not inaccessible. Empty. The money had been moved out months before you died. There is nothing in the vault. There was never anything in the vault. The entire cold wallet story was a lie. 76,000 customers. $215 million. Gone. And the only person who could explain where it went is supposedly 6 feet underground in a cemetery in Nova Scotia. Reddit explodes. Twitter explodes. The crypto community tears itself apart with one question that nobody can answer definitively. Is Gerald Cotten actually dead? Think about it. You signed your will 12 days before your death. You died in India, a country where death certificates can be obtained with questionable ease. Your body was handled by hotel staff, not medical professionals. The announcement was delayed by 5 weeks, and the cold wallets that should have held the money were already empty before you even got on the plane. Either you are the unluckiest man in the history of cryptocurrency, dying at the exact moment your fraud was about to be discovered, or you are the most audacious scammer who ever lived, faking your own death and disappearing with $215 million in untraceable digital currency. The lawyers representing your 76,000 victims do something unprecedented. They write a letter to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police asking them to dig up your body. They want an exhumation. They want a post-mortem autopsy. They want to confirm that the person in that coffin is actually Gerald Cotten. Because at this point, nobody trusts anything about this story. The FBI gets involved. The RCMP launches an investigation. Jesse Powell, the CEO of a competing exchange called Kraken, offers a $100,000 reward to anyone who can find the missing cryptocurrency. $100,000. Just to locate the coins. That's how desperate people are. Meanwhile, the investigation uncovers your co-founder's secret. Michael Patrin? His real name is Omar Danani, a convicted felon who served time in the US for identity theft and credit card fraud as part of a criminal ring called Shadow Crew. Your business partner, the guy who helped you build Canada's largest crypto exchange, was a convicted identity thief operating under a fake name the entire time. But it gets worse. Blockchain investigators start tracing the money. They find that you had created multiple fake accounts on your own exchange. Accounts under aliases that you used to trade against real customers with money you invented out of thin air. The Ontario Securities Commission spends 10 months analyzing trading data, blockchain records, interviewing witnesses, and reconstructing what you were actually doing. Their conclusion, released in June 2020, is devastating. They officially declare that Quadriga was a fraud and a Ponzi scheme from the beginning. The exact words from the report, "What happened at Quadriga was an old-fashioned fraud wrapped in modern technology." Old-fashioned fraud, wrapped in modern technology. You didn't invent anything new. You just took a scam that's existed since Charles Ponzi in the 1920s and put it on a blockchain. You used people's trust in technology to hide the oldest trick in the book. Your wife Jennifer cooperates with investigators. She agrees to forfeit $12 million in assets. She says she knew nothing. Some people believe her. Others don't. Investigative journalists point out that people were bringing duffel bags of cash to the home she shared with you. She says she didn't question it. Make of that what you will. Ernst & Young, the bankruptcy trustee, manages to recover $46 million out of $215 million. That's 21 cents on the dollar for people who trusted you with their life savings. Some of them lost everything. One customer, Tong Zhu, lost over $500,000 and had to sell his apartment in San Francisco to crawl out of debt. And your Chihuahuas, they still have their $100,000 trust fund. Your dogs are better protected financially than 76,000 human beings who trusted you with their money. In December 2019, 1 year after your alleged death, your body is exhumed from a cemetery in Nova Scotia. An autopsy is performed. The results confirm the body in the coffin is Gerald Cotten. Cause of death: complications from Crohn's disease. The conspiracy theorists are, at least officially, wrong. You didn't fake your death. You really died. But that answer doesn't make anyone feel better. Because even if you're really dead, the money is still gone. $169 million in losses, 76,000 victims, and the passwords to wherever the remaining crypto is hidden died with you. For real. The Ontario Securities Commission's final report paints the complete picture. 115 million lost through fraudulent trading. 28 million lost gambling on external exchanges. Millions more stolen for your personal lifestyle. The airplane, the sailboat, the real estate, all funded with money that people thought was safely stored in your cold wallets. Your co-founder, Michael Petrin, the convicted felon, disappears to Thailand. In 2024, British Columbia files an unexplained wealth order trying to seize his assets. The investigation continues years after your death. The damage you caused is still being calculated. The wounds are still open. You started as a 15-year-old kid on a scam forum in Belleville, Ontario. You learned the language of fraud before you learned to drive. You met a convicted criminal online, and he became your business partner. Together, you built Canada's largest cryptocurrency exchange. And then you hollowed it out from the inside, dollar by dollar, trade by trade, until there was nothing left but a shell with a dead man's name on it. You died at 30 in a hospital in India, on your honeymoon, 12 days after signing a will that left everything to your wife, with the only passwords to $215 million locked inside your encrypted laptop. Some people think you planned it all. That you're sitting on a beach somewhere with a new face and a new name, watching Bitcoin hit new all-time highs while 76,000 people wait for money that will never come. The exhumation says they're wrong, but the internet never forgets, and the internet never fully believes. The documentary about you is called Dead Man's Switch. It's named after a mechanism that activates when the operator dies. You were the switch. And when you died, or disappeared, the entire system collapsed. 115,000 customers, $215 million, one encrypted laptop, one dead man, and one question that will follow your name forever. Where is the money? Nobody knows. Maybe nobody ever will. And that might have been your plan all along.